Yeah, brain injuries are funny because there is like we do deserve a little bit of credit. I will pat ourselves on the back. We
You
do some
do?
cool
I
work,
would say
but at
so.
the same but at the same time, a lot of that story that I just told you was just like the miracle of how the brain can heal. So we try to provide these like as best as we can, give them medical care and make sure that they're getting the best treatments. Then we try to do our best to fit them in their environment, but each of these little steps along the way, you don't know what you can totally expect or what you can affect, and you do your best in each one. And then when they make these huge breakthroughs, you know that that's just kind of like, wow, the brain is insanely complex.
Looking ahead, are there any advances in brain injury psychology or research areas that excite you the most?
A couple of things that we're doing here at Blythedale. So I mentioned that we take a lot of kids with disorders of consciousness, and we collaborate with some researchers out of Cornell specifically Dr. Sidin Shah, who does EEGs to look at. So for a kid again, this disorder of consciousness is a stage where kids with the most severe injuries are still very early in their recovery, and they're limited in how much they can show us through their responses to their environment. So we're just really checking, are they seeing different things in their environment? Can they track a visual stimulus from side to side? Or do they respond to loud noises? Or when I pinch their finger, what do they do with their arms? And so we're just really trying to see the most basic functions of the human body. And then we use that to sort of determine how severe they are and if they're showing more and more over time. So you ask a child to move their arm, they don't move their arm. Maybe that's because their brain is not recovered to where they know what you're even asking. But it could also be because their motor system is damaged, while cognitively they may actually understand at some level. So Dr. Sudhin Shah is collaborating with us to create techniques to do this in kids. And we've had some really promising preliminary results where we are able to see for some kids some evidence on their EEGs, which is like their electric activity that's happening inside their brain. We're getting preliminary results that are showing that we can see some evidence that they may be understanding language and maybe even able to respond to a command on how their brain responds, even though their arm might not respond.
Wow, that's
And so that's something that
unbelievable.
we've published a few papers on, and we're continuing to try to pursue grants to try to bring up the pediatric literature to the level of adults where this can become a practice standard for the kids as well, so that we corroborate our bedside exams with these neuroimaging techniques.